Good morning, everybody. Orange here with another Etheria restart video, and today we finally did it. We actually got to the point where we have a reliable, and I mean like super reliable, ironclad, went 44 out of 45 auto farm team for RENGOKUTSU Infernal. That was a really long run-on sentence, but the big deal for me is I don't have Lily, right? Like, I'm still not somebody who can throw a Lily in there to make my Yelly or my Didding or whatever just like pop off and then pop off again and again. All that, you know, that Lily stuff, I can't do it. And I'm not using Vice. Like, I feel like my team is a little bit different than a lot of the other teams people are using. I didn't want to use my Ascension materials to make Vice like 6-star level 50, so I kind of found my own way. And I'll show you my team. I'm going to show you the run and all of that. But the key for me was I pulled the trigger on a thing I've been wanting to do for weeks. I burned about all of my purple cubes. I took Sonya, not Shadow Sonya, regular Sonya, SR Sonya, to level 50, used most of the rest of the EXP books that I had, and I maxed out all of her skills. This is a character I'm going to use not only in this fight, which you'll see in a second, but a lot of PvP stuff as well. So I'm going to run you through this fight, run you through how my team comp works. And more importantly, like if you're trying to build a team comp for this, I'm going to tell you like why I'm using what I'm using, why they're using what shells, gear, etc. So before I hit start, shout out to, I think Sean B made a video about this and someone in my guild watched it. So it's to the person in my guild who said Sean B switched their Kachi the Guard to this shell. What is this shell called again? It's called Jackal Guard. Hey, thank you. If that's true, awesome. But Jackal Guard, really great for skipping the line. So I have Jackal Guard on my healer Sonya and I have Jackal Guard on my Kachi the Guard, and those made a huge difference in this fight. You wanted, or I wanted for this, a really fast Kachi the Guard who could get my defense buff and immunity buff up before any part of this boss gets a turn. That prevents my Yelly or one of my other squishy characters from getting one shot. So that was like my first goal. Get my Kachi the Guard faster than every enemy on the team. He's at 285 speed, and I'll kind of show you that here in a little bit later. So that's how I lead off. Then, because that gives me a defense buff on my team, my second focus was I need to attack down the boss. This is a fight where you can debuff the boss. And so I have Viper in there. He is, you know, one of the best debuffers in the game. He's certainly one of the most consistent AoE debuffers in the game with his counter-attacking AoE attack and his skill 3 that you can get on a nice short cooldown. I have him just spamming skill 3 with Kachi the Guard this whole fight, and I almost upkeep like 100% of the time a defense buff on myself and an attack debuff on the enemy. Now, it did just run off. We're in kind of one of the awkward stages right here where I actually don't have an attack debuff on the boss right now, and our HPs are getting a little bit low, but look at how fast this Sonya is with Jackal Guard. We are at full HP, and we really needed to be at full HP to weather the part of this fight that we just had. And there's a chance that you know, Viper could die right here, or Yelly could die right here. It does happen sometimes, but this is where the beauty of Sonya is. She's gonna do her revive and she will just bring Yelly back. She'll heal her up. We'll get our buffs back on. We'll get the boss back debuffed again. And we kind of are able to just like reset this fight if we need to. It doesn't always go that way. There's definitely, like everything in this game, some RNG with like who the boss targets, you know, who gets silenced, who doesn't get silenced, etc. The silence, by the way, is another excellent reason to have our girl Sonya in this fight, because every time she skill ones the boss, she heals 2 people on the team, and when she heals them, she can cleanse their debuffs like that silence that's currently on Viper. You can see, even though Yelly died, which in previous runs that I was doing on this would have been a wipe, because I have Sonya on the team, Sonya revived her very quickly, got her back up to full HP, and we're back off to the races. Like, this is now looking like a very winnable fight. Okay, back to surviving this boss, because I do feel like that is the thing that most people struggle with. Let me mention a few other bits here. I did need to run one shielding shell. You can see I have the shield shell on my Viper, and that was like kind of the last little bit of survivability I added to this to make this fight work. Now, I technically have better shells for my Viper that like I like more to go with his kit to get him to use his skill 3 more and all of that. But I did find that like, even though I can survive like one person on my team getting killed like one time during the fight, if I wasn't running the shell that gives the shield, and of course, like I can't remember the name off the top of my head while I'm doing the video, even though it's a shell I use 900 times a day every day, whatever. If I wasn't running that, sometimes like 2 people would die. And then Sonya couldn't like recover me from that. So this attack right here might kill him. No, it didn't, but we're going to get him here in a minute. Like, okay, Kachi the guard's dead, but it's whatever. We would bring him back. Go ahead, Yelly, finish him off. Boom. So that was honestly one of like the worst runs that I've done with this team. Like, we actually had 2 people died. Kachi went down. It still wasn't that close to a loss. Even with Kachi dead, Sonya was about to have her skill 3 back up again. She was going to be, bringing him back, topping him off. That's it. That's the team, and that's how it functions. Now, let's go through the builds that I'm running real quick here, because I want to show you how to make this thing work. First, let's start with Yelly. You don't need Yelly for this. In fact, like, you could use whatever single target damage character you're using, and if you look through recent clears on this, so many people are using Didding. Now, Didding, let's look at HP values and defense values, because like, as long as you can just keep the buffs, keep the debuffs going and sustain, if the fight lasts another rotation or 2, because maybe your Didding is only like 90% as good of a single target DPS as Yelly is, whatever. But like Didding, and my Didding does have gear and my Yelly has gear. If I were to just throw this Didding in, he has like 21,000 HP and like, what is that? 1,350 defense, something like that. Yelly has a little bit more HP, so she can definitely survive a little bit better, and then close to the same amount of defense. So Yelly is clearly a tier above Didding in my opinion, but I think you could make this comp work with a Didding. Now, Sonya, let's look at her build and let's go through it. Jackal Guard, like I was talking about, I got pretty lucky with rolling this one. I got Synergy. Man, I love this on like a healer. So she's fast. It's a 16 speed shell with Synergy and then HP on it. Not the perfect shell, but it does have Wellspring Cure and Evil Guard, Evil Guard, however you say it. A clutch. This was a really big thing for me, like getting to the point where I could beat this fight. And what I will say about this fight is it is truly an in-game experience, especially on to make an auto team work. Like, I needed in-game shells. I needed in-game gear. And even though I'm using like 3 out of 4 SR characters, they are built, as I will show you here in a minute. So module wise, Wellspring 12, Cure 8, Evil Guard 6. Like, I just went with the best shells I had for each of those, HP bonus all the way across the board. And I made her as fast as I like reasonably could with this set of gear. You can see she's rocking a 218 speed. And with Jackal Guard at 218 speed, she's constantly like cutting back in front of line, taking advantage of that Jackal Guard. So that's her. She has been a great addition to my account already. 0 regrets on building her up, and I did max all of her skills. But I think for most people, they've probably already got her built and have worked on some of her skills. I don't know that you need like her skill 2 maxed. I did, because I'm planning on using her very heavily in PvP as well. Okay, Viper, let's look at what Viper's rocking. So Artisan is what Viper's using for me. Again, it's a good shell, but it's far from perfect. It has like HP, flat HP on the main stat. That's fine, I do need him to survive. I do love Dauntless on this shell for just 8% less damage taken. It's only Shadow Dash 13, so definitely could get a little bit faster, and that would help. But for speed, because I definitely, again, want my Viper going all the time, like let's get Artisan procced as much as we can, let's keep those debuffs on the boss. So Swift Rush was a big one, but I actually went 12 Bloodbath, 9 Swift Rush, 6 Ether Plague. So focused a lot more on survivability than I did for speed. That pivot basically made it so Viper never dies. Like, this is almost like a PvP build for Viper, or at least it's a Bloodbath build. I don't know if you'd run exactly this in PvP, but it wouldn't suck if you did. Anyway, Bloodbath, big deal here. He's never dying. He's constantly keeping that attack down on the boss. That's the thing I'm running him. And you can see its effect accuracy all the way across the board. You just basically have to have max effect accuracy for a debuffer on these like, in-game PvE levels. Okay, the last character, Kachi the Guard. Again, another character that I think a lot of people are already using. Here, I had to just use a like regular level 40 Jackal Guard. This isn't even a 3 Matrix one because I really wanted to have Swift Rush Time Weave. This is the only Jackal Guard I got that has that. So I had to dip into the well a little bit here and actually build this thing up. It's only Shadow Dash 12, flat HP 900, and 5% DPS boost for Disorder characters. Technically, he's doing 5% more damage, I guess, because this dude is Disorder. Let's see. Yeah, he is. So he's getting that 5% damage boost. Definitely not why I'm running that. But of the SR characters, he's the only one that I don't have his skills all the way maxed out. I do still have his skill 3 maxed out, and I have his skill 1 taken all the way to level 4 plus the last speed module. Like, I wanted to grab these speeds. Now, I had this already done for like other fights and for using him in PvP, but I haven't touched his skill 2 beyond just taking it, you know, for the freebies at the front. And there it is. If you look at his modules, Swift Rush, Time Weave, 12 out of 12 on both of them. Again, maximum cooldown reduction here. I want him spamming that skill 3. Effect accuracy all the way across the board, so I think that's the way to go. And I got him at 285 speed. At 281, it wasn't enough. So I had him at 281. I actually had to switch around some modules earlier. I was thinking about maybe having to like re-roll for a faster speed here, but luckily I had some modules sitting around. Got him to 285. That was enough to where every single time he does go in front of the boss. And that's my build, you guys. If you want to see my Yelly build, I will show you that as well. I think I already looked at this a little bit earlier, but it's Onslaught, Kenai, Fury Edge. So not perfect, right? Like Onslaught Kenai is not an 8-set, 12-piece set. This is just kind of the best Yelly set that I currently have, or it's the best one that I've been running. It's Penetration Skill 2, Blade of Constancy on a passive 3, and then just yellow overclocking on slot 1. So this shell could be a lot better, but it was the best that I had for this. So those are my builds. That's how I beat this thing. And again, like, I'll just kind of run it again as I'm talking. Here was my mindset. This is what I went for. I knew coming into like building for this fight, I knew that I had good enough gear and good enough or access to good enough shells to pull this off, right? Like, my account has max refreshed every single day. There's no reason I should not be able to do this. So it was just filling in the puzzle. Now, not having Lily is definitely a reason to not be able to do certain things that people with Lily do. I will admit that. I will say that I've beat that bush all day long, but other people who didn't have Lily were beating this. And I was like, okay, I need to sit down and do it. So here's what I focused on. I stopped being lazy with my gear, and I actually just unequipped a bunch of gear from people and was like, I'm going to make the best equipment sets for these 4 characters that I have, that I can, and just like, to heck with PvP for the day. My arena defense is probably getting smashed right now because all my characters don't have gear, and to heck with any of the other farms that I'm doing. Just focus on this. Then I leveled up Sonya, and I want to point out something about Sonya. Notice right here, she used her skill 3 on Yelly earlier. When she hits somebody with their skill 3, they get this undispellable 20% max HP buff. This is a big deal in this fight. It's a big deal. Now, Ling Luo, I still think Ling Luo is a better like raw healer than Sonya is, but Ling Luo ain't giving people 20% more max HP in a 2-stacking buff. So every time she skill 3 somebody that's not dead, they get 20% more max HP for the rest of this fight. Holy cow, that's so good. And you'll notice if you set up for this, there will be a lot of times where you have characters almost die. Like my Yelly is very close to almost dying. Instead, she's full HP again and now has 40% more max HP than she did at the start of the fight. Again, you know, do the math. Like, it's not actually 40% more, it's 40% of her base, whatever. But like, she's a lot thicker than she was, and she's a pretty thick girl coming into this, I think. Yeah, she's pretty thick. Okay, so that's another thought there. Then again, what I thought was, I'm taking it back to basics. Look, she's dead without those 2 Sonya buffs, by the way. She would have just died. We'd have had to go to the revive thing. Anyway, I digress. Okay, boom, there we go. What was I saying? Okay, yeah, so I went back to basics. Basics of this game, thinking all the way back to those early parts of the game where you're building Valerian and you're building Kachi the Guard and you're pushing into, you know, the nightmare stages for the first time. What were the basics? Debuff the boss, buff yourself. And that's what I thought of here. Kachi the Guard, what a great defense buffer. Viper, what a great attack debuffer. I'm just going to go back to those things. I'm going to work in some shells that can give me some shields. I'm going to work in the shells that can make me fast and help me cut in the line, keep my buffs up, keep my heals going, and just sustain through this fight. It's a little bit slower than I'd like it to be. I really wish this was a 5-man fight, not a 4-man fight, so I could add an offense buffer like a Valerian or add another DPS like a Didding, but it's a shell fight, so it's a 4-man fight, even though to me this fight feels like it's balanced for 5. I mean, this is truly in-game PvE, is this right here, if you can auto it. It's tough. So there you go, guys. That's the video for today. We're about to finish this guy off. Let's go ahead and watch him die and see if I actually get a usable shell, because now we get to the dark side of this video. Let's talk about the dark side of the force for a second right here. I have farmed this, well, now 47 times today. This will be the 47th time I've killed it. I've been keeping track. I've lost once, so this will be my 46th successful killing of this boss today. I have received 1 3 matrix shell, 1, and it wasn't good. Now, I did at least get a mythic. Let's see. Still just 1. We're going to send that one to the recycle bin, and I will burn the rest of my energy for the day farming that out again. So there's my run. That's how I do it. Thank y'all for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. If I know so many people are not able to auto this yet, again, especially if you don't have like Lily. So if this was helpful, leave a like, subscribe, comment, all the things, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.